Hey guys, we're going live with Danielle. A second ago it cut out on us, so we're just restarting. Sorry for anybody who was in there and missed it and is watching the replay, but just rewind a minute or two while we wait for her to rejoin us. I'm not sure if her... Okay, there we go. Hey Danielle, okay, we're just waiting for her to join and we're going to start all over again. About men's mental health when it comes to relationships for either me or Danielle, because she's just a wealth of knowledge. Please drop it below and we're going to go ahead and answer those as well.
So sorry.
Don't That's know okay. What happened. No worries.
Again, I'm new to all this techie stuff.
No worries. So what we heard was, you work a lot with men and women in relationships, and you do a personality profile, you do workshops with them. And how long have you been doing this for?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. And how long have you been married?
43 years.
Oh my gosh. So you definitely have the secrets to a happy, healthy marriage. What were you doing before you started doing relationship coaching?
Well, my husband and I pastor a church, and we've been in the ministry pretty much our whole adult lives, our whole married life. And so I would talk to women and he would talk to men. And years and years ago, I started learning. I went to a workshop type thing, a conference, and I heard, it wasn't a Christian thing, but I heard some things about men and women. And I kind of went in with an attitude of like, what are they going to teach me that I don't already know? And I was married about 15 years at the time and happily married. And some of the stuff that they were teaching, I was like, this is totally biblical. They're not bringing in the scriptures, but I could see how this is exactly how God designed men and women to be in relationship together. And so I just took some of that stuff and just started just doing I've always been interested in marriage and family and relationships. I've done a lot of reading. I read everything, get my hands on, and I've had lots of mentors. And just kind of started over the years, doing different types of workshops and seminars, mostly in churches, but in some businesses also, especially my personality thing. I've done that in lots of businesses. And so, yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about, helping men and women stay married, get married and stay married, and to actually be happy in their relationships. So, relationships, they're tough. They're tough. And especially in our climate today, where it seems like so many people on the internet, especially in social media, are pitting men and women against one another. And I don't understand why. Like, we need each other. Right. We need each other for the survival of the species.
Right.
So, yeah. So go ahead.
I'm just so curious to ask you, because you just said that the internet is pitting men and women against each other. And you also work so closely with relationships. And you said, this is how God kind of designed relationships. So how do you feel about the way that the internet is portraying men and, either what they want from women or how they should be? Do you think it is following a good formula for marriage, or do you think that the advice out there is like super skewed?
No, I think the whole way that people date these days, I think it just teaches people how to break up and how to get divorced. Okay. I think that's where it's going. And we've thought that, my husband and I, for years and years. We used to be youth pastors. And so we would talk to teenagers, and we talked a lot about dating back then, and how if going in and out of relationships, when, first of all, as a teenager, you're way too young to even be going there because you're not ready to get married. And dating really is to get married. Like, that's the way dating was designed, not to get to know somebody, to see, are they marriage material? Are we compatible? Is there chemistry? Can we communicate? Do we enjoy each other? Could I see myself living with this person for the rest of my life, making a family with this person? But dating these days it's not that at all. And I think it's sad that so many young girls have been influenced or taught that in order to keep a man before you're married, in order to keep him, you have to have sex with him, or he's going to move on. And yeah, there's a lot of men that will. I've had grown women, single women, tell me that, oh, if I don't sleep with him, he's said right straightforward, then I'm not going to date you. And I'm like, that's just so sad, because so what he's saying is, I don't want to take the time to get to know you. I just want to get in, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and move on. And anybody that wants a long-term, sustainable, intimate relationship knows that that's not how it's going to work. And so I tell women, if you want a sex buddy, yeah, go ahead, do it. But you know what? Women are the ones that are going to take the hit to their self-esteem, not the men. It's the women, because women get emotionally attached through sex. Men, not so much. So he can move on and not think about it again. But for a woman, it's like that's going to stay with her. And then if he just moves on, you know, she starts to feel bad about herself. And so I think it's so much more harmful for women than it is for men, because the way that men and women relate differently to intimacy, to sex.
Right. Wow. And that's so true. The internet really is teaching us how to break up and get divorced, or at least
Yeah.
even be prepared for a breakup or a divorce without even preparing for a long-lasting relationship or a long-lasting marriage. And so I know that you coach a lot of women and a lot of men. And apart from just preparing women not to kind of sleep with someone on the first date if they're looking to get married, what else, you know, could women do to help be better in their relationships with men?
Well, first, women need to relearn because they have been very misled and I feel like poisoned with the whole feminist movement. And I'm not against, you know, equal rights for equal pay and, you know, women power and all that stuff. But I think that the feminist movement has changed into diminishing and devaluing and disrespecting men, because now it's like, what do we need men for? We don't need men. We can do it all by ourselves. And it's taught women to be independent, self-sufficient. I can support myself. I don't even need a man anymore to have a baby. I can just go to the corner sperm bank over there and make a baby and raise a baby all by myself. But again, that was not God's design for a family. And I think, you know, a lot of the problems that we're seeing with teenagers and young people these days, and even just even the suicide rate and all that stuff, I think it's, you know, the family is the backbone of society. If a family breaks down, society breaks down. And that's what we're seeing. The divorce rate is on the rise, right? And our culture, our society, it's sad. It's sad what's going on out there. And I just think, you know, now there's all these broken homes and kids being raised by one parent, single parents. And I know there's times when it can't be helped if you have a spouse that dies or something. I get that. But I think these days people are just too quick to throw the towel in on marriage. It's just become too easy. And they're not even not staying married because they're not happy. They just think I might be happier over there. And you know, you got to water the grass
Yeah, where
wherever.
you're at.
Yeah. And I always tell people, you know, so break up with this person, but guess what? The next person that you're with is going to have a whole nother set of issues. So you might as well go ahead and work through these issues. You know, we all have our issues, and why not make it work with the one that you chose, that you made a covenant with, you made a promise, a vow to, you're raising your children with them. Why not stay in it? Now, I get it. If there's toxicity, if there's unhealthiness, if there's addiction, adultery, abuse, I get it. Even some of those things I've seen couples work through. If the spouse is willing to get help, whoever is the, you know, the one that has the problem is willing to get help, those things can all be worked through. But to me, divorce is the very, 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 very last resort, not the first resort, the very last thing that you do, because there's no perfect person. So you might have your problems with this person. You're gonna also have problems with the next person, because you go wherever you are, you go, or wherever you go, you are.
Right. Right.
And
And I'm so glad that you brought up that toxicity part, because there's a huge trend going around that I see from male coaches where they kind of use the Bible against women in that way. I don't know if you've seen these roundtable talks where they go, you know, a man should never be divorced from his partner, even if there's abuse or even if there's, you know, infidelity. And they're like, well, you don't think that she should leave him if he's like abusing her? And they go, no. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I wanted to get your perspective and opinion on that. Like,
yeah,
how do you feel about that?
I think there are some camps, some Christian camps, some churches, some pastors that would say that. I've read stories about it. My husband and I completely disagree. I think God cares more about the individual than he does the marriage. He hates divorce. This is true. But God cares about the women and the men. God doesn't want a woman to be abused by a man. No way. There is no way a woman should stay in a relationship that she's being mistreated in. There's no way a man should stay in a relationship that he's being mistreated in. Like you've got to have enough self-value and self-respect to, we teach people or train people how to treat us. And if you have enough self-love and self-value and self-respect, you're not going to allow people to treat you in negative ways, or especially in abusive ways. I would never tell a woman to stay in a relationship like that. Now, I wouldn't say, you have to leave him, but you might have to leave for a while. And because the first thing that's going to get somebody's attention is you removing yourself. You can't change them. You can't make them stop calling you names. You have no control over the other person, right? You only have control over you. So if you are disrespecting my standards, my boundaries, my body, I'm going to remove myself because I can't control you, but I am not going to, stay present in a place that I'm being treated badly. So it may not be divorce, but it may take separation for a while. And if your husband or your wife does not get help, I would say there's no hope for this. They have to want to change. They have to want to do their own personal work and personal growth. They have to be healthy individuals if you want to have a healthy, happy relationship with anybody.
100%. And I love that you said that, because earlier when we were talking about the grass is greener where you water it, that is taking responsibility on your own part as well. Have I been watering my own grass, my own wants, needs, desires, interests, and the ways that I can be healthier to make this a healthier, happier union? And so if you're not willing to water your grass either, the relationship's also going to be stale. So both partners need to be watering the grass to have a healthy garden. And just for anybody who's come in, this is an IG Live with me and Danielle to promote the Year of the Man Summit, where she will be one of the keynote speakers, speaking about things that she just wish men only knew, and things about women, talking about the way that men are treated nowadays. So she's going to have a keynote on the Friday of the February 23rd, I'm pretty sure. And you can sign up using the link below, Year of the Man 2024. It's completely free. If you want to be able to ask Danielle questions, upgrade to that VIP, use the link in her bio. I don't know if she's put it there yet, but use Danielle's link so that, we can know that you want to ask her a specific question. And yeah, so we're just promoting that by doing this live right now, digging a little bit deeper into how Danielle's mind works, how she sees things, and getting a little bit extra juice because she's just so amazing. And yes, I love hearing from you. And so speaking of that, why did you decide to do the Year of the Man Summit, and why do you think that men's mental health is important?
Oh my gosh, it's so important. If we're going to have good relationships, good marriages, and good families, then yeah, men need to be healthy, and so do women. And I think if we just can understand the opposite sex a little bit better, and that's where I come in. Like I'm going to answer questions that men have about women, such as, and over my 20 years of experience interviewing many, many, many men, here's some of the questions that they ask. They ask things like, what do women really want? I can sum it up in one sentence, by the way. They ask, are women as complicated as they seem? And the answer is absolutely. They ask, what is the biggest mistake that men make with women? I will be talking all about that. I will tell the men what causes sexual arousal in a woman, and it is not what you think. And it's very different for a man. We'll talk about what makes a wife willingly want to submit to her husband. What else? Let me think what else. Oh, I'll tell him 3 words that will bring the best out of your woman in the bedroom. I'll tell you about 7 things that cause a woman to fall in love with a man. Let's see. Probably lots more if I get to it. I've got a lot.
This is getting so spicy and so deep. I hope you guys are getting excited. If you don't sign up for the Year of the Man Summit, guys, with the link below, you're completely missing out. This is literally, she's just giving us a just chef's kiss, just a little taste of what she has to offer. And we even got her husband to speak to. He's going before her. And I talked to your husband on the phone, and I can tell he's a pastor because 15 minutes flew by in 1 second. And I said, good thing he's going before Danielle because he's definitely going over his time. I know this for a fact.
He will.
So don't worry, you're after him.
He will.
We can try our best, but we
Yeah,
know we cannot control
he's
the speaker within him.
he talks to men all over the country, thousands of men, does lots of men's groups, men's meetings, and he's very, very inspiring. He's great. He's great. You guys will love him. He's very funny. But yeah.
Yes, but I mean, the magic is that both of you as a couple are just powerhouses, and the knowledge that you have is just like, I saw your videos and I was like, I have to speak to this woman. Like when you had like 10,000 followers, I was like, oh my God, I love that she's doing this. And the fact is, you're living proof that the information that you're talking about is valid because you have an over 40-year happy
Yeah.
marriage. You know, and you, even though it comes from religion, a lot of the teachings that you have, I think that there's, even if you're non-religious, there's so many
Oh
good
yeah.
moral grounds to
Yes.
go through from religion because it teaches you how to be a person who goes based on a moral
Right.
compass, right? Like when it comes to dating now, it's kind of like we lost our way. We don't have a nuclear family unit. You know, we have all these new ideals and everybody's kind of just trying to find something instead of having a clear path. And at least when you're basing something off of Christianity or it's like a guide. It's a guide to follow things in a direction that you know you're going to be happy, healthy, and wholesome at the end of the day. So I just love that all your teachings are founded off of something, you know, based in your own truth.
Yeah. And I talk to men and women of all different walks of life, all different faiths, like from Jewish to Catholic to Buddhist to Muslim. All different ones have come to my seminars over the years. I'm not trying to convert anybody and make them believe what I believe. I just say from my experience, this is what I know. You can take it or leave it, do what you want with it. But it's just your basic 101 relationship principles. And so it is across the board. It doesn't really matter what your faith is. I think people will find that it's very useful information. And I really believe that it can transform your relationships with women. And I believe for women, it can transform their relationships with men. This particular one, I'll be talking just to men about women, but the men that have come over the years to my seminars, they'll always tell me, you know, what their takeaway was or what they're doing different and how their wives were just so excited the fact that they even wanted to learn about relationships. That like boost, that's an oxytocin booster for women for sure. Just knowing that their man is interested. And so many men are. The first time I did this seminar for men, because I've been doing it for women, a man came up to me and said, "Can you do a seminar for us?" And I go, "Really? About women?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "You would come to a seminar about women?" He goes, "Absolutely." My very first one, I had over 80 men there. It was 3 hours long and it was on a Saturday. And outside the window behind me, it was a golf course. And I'm like, I cannot believe these men are sitting in here listening to a woman when they can be golfing. But I thought, oh, they'll leave early. No, they stayed the entire time. They loved it. I got so much good feedback because I am very promoting of men and very promoting of women, both. So I think the guys will get a lot out of it.
Yes, 100%. And that's something I think people are just starving for as well, especially men, is understanding that men of this world are not evil. They're not bad people. They're not like these pieces of crap that like social media it's
It
demonizing
is.
them. And really, a lot of men desire to, because a man's natural instinct is to love a
Yeah,
woman, is to take care of a woman, is to, that is what they live and
yeah,
breathe for.
that's
If they feel
right,
nurtured, if they feel respected,
right.
if they feel valued. If they don't, they become the monsters that we portray them. So we need to project something different into the
That's
world.
right. And really, men, they are really so simple. And when I say simple, I've gotten lots of pushback from women saying, "Oh, you're talking about them. You're so condescending." And the men, their comments are like, "No, she's right. We are simple. We are not complicated." Women, because of hormones and emotions, we're a lot more complicated than the guys. And, you know, my husband and I joke, he always says, for a man, all you need to do is smile, show up naked, bring a sandwich, and be quiet. I mean, it's just that easy. That's all they need. And of course, we're teasing, but they're just not that hard. If women understood what makes a man tick, and if men understood how to bring the best out of their woman, they can get their needs met too. So it goes both ways. It definitely goes both ways.
100%. And that's the thing is with society kind of demonizing men, they don't want to meet a woman's needs.
Yeah.
Why should they open up
Right.
in a vulnerable way
Right.
when all they're going to do is be crapped on because they haven't learned it yet, or they're not a good enough
Yeah.
man yet?
Yeah.
No, they just close up, and then they only want to use women for their sexual desires. So we're
Right.
going down this path of like both genders feeling like each other's the
Yeah.
enemy. It's super polarizing.
Yeah.
We're breaking up families.
Right.
And so our journey with this summit and with your talk and with everybody else's talk is, how can we come together, not just
Yes.
for relationships, but aligning men to help find their moral core, to
Right.
be feel better, do better, and be better, for relationships to mend, for us to come back together. Because when we're broken apart, we're weak. We're a
Right.
weak system. And when we're a weak system, like, everybody's depressed,
That's right.
nobody's financially well, nobody's doing anything well. So we want to get back on track.
Yes. We're hardwired to have relationships, to have connection, to have intimacy, to love. We are hardwired for that. So I hear so many men on social media saying, nope, I'm done. I'm out. I'll never marry again. I'd rather be alone. And you know why they're saying that is because they've been hurt. And men are way more sensitive than anybody gives them credit for. I think there's no woman more sensitive than a man on the inside. And there's no
Mhm.
man stronger than a woman on the inside. But we don't see each other like that. We think that men don't feel just because they relate differently to their emotions than women do. Women will just say, "Oh, see, he doesn't have a feeling." Like, no, they do feel. But they've been taught, don't share your feelings, don't be vulnerable because it'll look weak. It looks like weakness. And men are taught, be strong, be tough, hold it in, don't cry, right? From childhood. So, and then we wonder, why they don't share. And then when they do share, I know even for me, my own husband, he's he's got a very intense personality. Okay. And like when he's preaching from the pulpit, people will say, why are you yelling? Because I'm not mad. I'm just very passionate. He's very passionate. So he will have very intense feelings about things. And I remember early on in our marriage, when he would open up and share his feelings, I'd be like, oh my, no, you can't feel that way, because it was so intense. But if I responded that way, all it would do was shut him down. And so as women, I hear men all the time say, I'm never going to make myself vulnerable because then she uses it against me. And that is the biggest mistake that a woman could ever make. Women say, well, why doesn't he share with me? Why doesn't he talk to me? Why doesn't he open up? Well, do you interrupt him? Do you finish his sentences? Do you use what he says against him? Do you tell him, no, you can't feel that way? Do you invalidate him?
Do
And
you
I know that I did that with my
turn
husband.
it back on you? I hear that one a lot. Like,
Oh,
all of a sudden she'll be like, "Oh, but
exactly.
I didn't do this," and he's like, "It's not about you.
Right,
I'm just trying to explain right now."
right. Right. So, and I think, if we can learn how, that's so key to actually validate how they feel, how she feels. You don't have to agree to validate. I had to learn that, because if I didn't agree, I'd be like, no, that's wrong. And so I make him feel like his feelings are wrong. Like, feelings are not good, bad, right, or wrong. They just are. You can't help how you feel. You can help what you do with the feelings. Okay. You don't have to be controlled by your own feelings, because sometimes you feel really mad. Sometimes you feel like you want to throw something or break something. No, you have to have self-control. Here's how I'm feeling. I'm not going to act on it, but here's how I feel. And it's okay to say, oh, wow, okay, that's how you feel. All right, I understand. And that's okay. Now, what are we going to do about it? Kind of thing. So, and I think just for men and women together, if we can learn to do that, it'll bring so much more connection and peace. Again, I always tell men, you don't have to understand. You probably never will, because you're not a woman. But you can just sit there and nod and go, okay, honey. All right. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. And that's another lesson that I've had to learn, just not too long ago. And it wasn't with my husband. It was with another woman. And they made a comment that you invalidate my feelings. And I said, what? And I just couldn't believe it. I said, how so? And then I realized, if they shared how they felt, they did share how they felt. And I said, no, that's not how I meant it, or that's not what I did. And basically saying, so you can't feel that way. I had to go back and say, oh, okay. So I didn't intentionally try to hurt you, but the way what I said landed on you hurt you. And so that actually set me free, because I know the intention of my heart isn't to cause pain to someone you love, someone you're close to, but by me not they felt invalidated by me because of the way I responded. And I had to apologize for that. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And I think so many of us don't realize that's what we're doing because we get defensive. Someone says, you hurt me. No, I didn't. Yeah, but you did. But no, I didn't. And what they mean is, I didn't intentionally mean to, but still caused pain. Even if it wasn't my intention, it still made you hurt. And I'm sorry for that. It can be that simple. But, we need a little humility. Sometimes we got to humble ourselves to do that. Say, I'm sorry. Very vulnerable.
100%. That was so beautifully explained because many, many people are terrible listeners and they're terrible at apologizing. They don't understand what a true
Yeah,
apology is. Listening is not interrupting. It's not saying, yeah, okay, and then like jumping in. It's
right.
being totally quiet and maybe nodding your head and letting them finish, making a pause, allowing them to speak more. Men don't get enough silence to actually finish their thought.
Yep.
They don't get enough silence to actually talk about it. Like, stay silent for a minute and you might
Right.
see that he
Right.
starts talking more. He might start opening up. And the thing is with apologizing, like you just said, like, oh, I had to go back and humble myself and realize, like, oh, from their perspective, maybe I wasn't intending to hurt them, but I did.
Right.
Because it doesn't necessarily matter our intentions all the time. It matters what happened in the other person's perspective. So I love that
Right.
you explained
Because
that. And
everybody has a filter, and we
mhm,
don't know what their past pain or hurt or betrayal or trauma was. We don't know. And again, so because you say something and it lands offensive on them, maybe you had no intention of being offensive, but you don't, especially if somebody you don't know well. So you go, so they have their filter, and that was painful, and then we get defensive. But if instead of getting defensive, oh, tell me more. So why did that land on you that way? What did you hear me say? I had someone just the other day say, well, you called me an idiot. I go, I didn't call you an idiot. They go, no, you called me an idiot. And I said, that word would never come out of my mouth to you because I respect you and I don't think you're an idiot. And then it hit me. I go, okay, wait a minute. However I formulated what I said landed on you that you felt like I think you're an idiot. Oh, wow. I am so sorry. And I don't even know what I said to make them think that, but I said something. And so that's what they heard, and that's okay. So I had to take responsibility and go, oh, okay, my bad. Can we talk more about that? How could I have said that in a way that would land differently? And just even just having those are deep conversations. Those are intimate conversations, but all it does is bring better connection. It brings you closer together. By invalidating, it just distances you from them. So, so
100%. Wow, I love this. That's so true. And you guys, I want to value Danielle's time today. She decided to come on the live to help us promote this summit that she is keynoting at. So, guys, please use the link either in my bio, the link that is pinned in the comment section. You can watch Danielle live. She's going to have an hour and a half speaking on Saturday at the end of February. Her and her husband, they're powerhouses, and 11 plus other creators. If you didn't get to hear what she was talking about, watch the replay. I'm going to post it on my channel and you can scroll to the beginning. Danielle, I appreciate your time so much. You are a powerhouse.
thank you.
I could talk with you all day. And I can't wait to see you at the end
I,
of February.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for asking me.
Okay.
It's an honor.
Okay, awesome, guys. Any questions you have, sign up for the summit and ask them in VIP with Danielle, and we'll see you there. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye bye.